Today we're looking at the British education system, and I'm going to break down how it works in 15 steps. So let's get to number 1. The first thing to note is that education is compulsory from the ages of 5 to 16. That means that everybody in the country has to go to school. In 1988, the national curriculum was introduced. The national curriculum is a framework for learning. It was brought in to standardize learning across the country so that all students were learning the same things. In Britain, we have two main types of schools. We have state schools and private schools or independent schools. A state school is a school that's free. It's open to everybody. It's government funded and you don't have to pay. So it's for anybody to attend. Now the other type of school is a private school or independent school. These are fee-paying schools, so students are expected to pay fees per term, and they don't have to follow the national curriculum so strictly. Whereas in a state school, they have to follow the national curriculum. In addition to private schools or independent schools, we also have public schools. These are a group of schools that are the most expensive, the most elite, if you will. For example, we've got Eton, Harrow, Cheltenham Ladies College. These are the kinds of schools that royalty go to. For example, Prince Harry and Prince William both went to Eton. So it sounds like they should be free, right? Public school, but in fact, it's the opposite. So when we're 5 years old, we go to primary school. Primary school is the first school you'll go to. It's from 5 to 11 years old. In America, they would call primary school elementary school, but over here, primary school. Now, when you get to 11, that's when you go to secondary school. Secondary school. Secondary school is from 11 to 16 or sometimes 18 as well. In America, they call that a high school, but here, secondary school. Now, when you get to 16, that's when you do your first big exams. We call these GCSEs, General Certificate of Secondary Education. Generally, you take about 9 subjects. You have to take English, you have to take maths, and I think science in some places, and then you get to choose. So for example, I chose geography, history, French, things like that. It's graded from A star is the top to A, B, C, and so on. I remember getting 1A. I got 1A, the rest B's, which I was happy with. At 16, you then get to choose if you want to continue with school or leave school and maybe start a job or do something else. So between the ages of 16 and 18, we have something called sixth form. Sixth form. These are the top 2 years of the school. You have the lower sixth, and then you go to the upper sixth. That's the highest class at school. In sixth form, you do something called A-levels. Now, if you study for 2 years, you'll get an A-level. If you study for 1 year, you'll get an AS level. Generally, you do about 3 or 4 A-levels. I remember I think I did 4 A-levels. And again, you can get A stars, A's, B's, C's, etc. That's how it's graded. Now at this age, between 16 and 18, you can choose to stay in your secondary school, but we also have something called a college, or a sixth form college, as it's also known, where you can go and study your A-levels. This can get a bit confusing because I know in America, colleges are what we call universities, but our word college has a few other meanings. In this case, the sixth form college is for 16 to 18-year-olds. Many students who pass their A-levels then go on to university. Now, a university in Britain, we do 1 subject. We take 1 core subject. So again, it could be English, it could be data science, it could be history. We do 1 main subject. And a bachelor's degree or an undergraduate degree takes 3 years. And at the end of your course, you take something called your finals. Your finals. These are your exams at the end to see what grade you get. Now, our grading system goes from a first, which is the top, then you get a 2-1, a 2-2, and then a third. Now, there are a group of elite universities, places like Oxford, Cambridge, Bristol, Edinburgh, and they are known as red brick universities. Red brick universities. They're the old traditional universities. Kind of similar to in America, they've got Ivy League schools. Here we call them red brick universities. It's also common for people to do a master's, which is considered to be a postgraduate degree. You could do a master's, which is usually 1 or 2 years, and then of course a PhD if you want to continue with your studies.